RamiX back in a video. Please all enjoy today's video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as it would be greatly appreciated by me, and I would just love it. With that being said, I do have a second channel, which if you like the content on here, and if you're a Naruto fan, then you would probably like the content on there, as well as the fact that if you're a One Piece or even Dragon Ball fan, you would probably like the content over there as well, as I do cover those animes in addition to Naruto. Also do other what-ifs, so to speak. And with that being said, yeah, make sure to share the video with your friends, like so this, just name it content in general. And we can now get into the video. Now, for basis of this what-if, we will explain Izanagi, but in another part. First, I want to lay out the groundwork, and soon you'll start to understand, or maybe at least get a brief understanding of the Izanagi, but eventually I'll actually explain it. Now, with that being said, how we'll explain it, I cannot disclose at this moment, but we will start the what if. Naruto Uzumaki, a boy without parents in this timeline, orphaned at a young age. His mother being Kushina Uzumaki, a jonin of the Leaf Village, and then Nine Tails' former Jinchuriki, with Naruto being the current. Which then leads into his father, the fourth Hokage, who sacrificed his life to save Naruto. Or you could also say the village, as he was kind of putting the Nine Tails within Naruto to save the village, but at the same time, if Naruto is attacked by neighboring villages, that would technically be something that Minato's preventing by putting the Nine Tails within Naruto. For example, what I'm trying to say is that Minato is dead, and Kushina is dead, which you most likely know. With that being said, Naruto would grow up in the Leaf Village, as he would be bullied, hated, and spit on, stoned. Nobody liked him, nobody played with him, and nobody cared for him except for a select few, most of which he didn't know, like people like Hinata, and later on people like Iruka, who he later learned to trust, love, and they soon had a father-son relationship, as we do actually see Naruto have, I guess you could say, Iruka be his father figure at his wedding, which is interesting, so to speak, for a lack of a better word. Now, with that being said, Naruto did have people supporting him, like Hiruzen, who paid for all of his bills, basically, and his apartment, but besides that, he was pretty lonely. Now, how do we get Naruto to have the Izanagi, as it is a Sharingan-based technique? Well, in my mind, this is actually pretty simple, but we must first put Naruto in a library. And how is that going to happen? How is the knucklehead ninja that we all know and love and have grown to love going to go to a library in the first place? Especially if it's far before, say, Shippuden, or far before Naruto even becomes a genin. Well, this is how. Naruto would encounter a bully who had just recently stopped at the library and learned a new jutsu. The bully would smirk. "I've been dying to try this out on you. Years ago, when you were born, my father died. Died so that you could be born." Of course, this wasn't actually the case, but this is what the boy thought, who was about to attack Naruto, due to the fact that when Naruto was born, his father had died, and he kind of just blamed the Nine Tails on Naruto, like most of the villagers did. This boy would then rush towards Naruto, grabbing a kunai that he had picked up from a local store around the corner from where he was, as Naruto would be defenseless, unable to do anything. At this moment, the Nine Tails was sleeping, not caring for Naruto. He had no interest in a boy who was, well, not even above the age of 6. With that being said, Naruto would stand no chance in this fight. He would try to punch back, trying to even kick and flail his arms relentlessly, but there was nothing he could do. He was too weak, he was outmatched, and the boy he was fighting was honestly just too skilled for him at the moment. He was also out-weaponed, if you want to call that a thing, as he had no weapons and the boy did. With that being said, the boy would then use the jutsu he was working on, the wind-style air bullet. This would send Naruto flying into a nearby tree, knocking him out. But before he fully passed out, before he blacked out, you could say even, the boy who was attacking him, which we will label as the bully, would speak. The bully would then say that he learned this all from the library, and that kids who don't go to the library are weak like Naruto. He learned that at a young age, and now he's been able to prove it. Naruto would hear this as he would black out, or pass out, for lack of a better term. Naruto would wake up near the same tree as he would walk home. He would then pour himself some milk, remarking to himself that he once heard that milk is great for the bones and helps you grow even. Little did Naruto know that this milk was actually rotten, spoiled even, as he would immediately have to go to the bathroom, spending quite some time in it. Naruto would then come to the realization that he was out of toilet paper, as he would save up enough money to go grab some. He would also grab some ramen with a coupon he had, as he and Tucci, the ramen guy, if you want to call him that, would have a chat. Naruto would ask Tucci something, as Tucci would be intrigued by Naruto asking this. Naruto, the, usually rambunctious little kid he knew, why was he asking this? As Naruto had asked, do kids who go to the library, do they get special powers? Now, special power or special powers is the thing that Naruto had thought this bully who beat him up had used, as he didn't actually know what a jutsu was at this point in time. Tucci would laugh as he would ask what he meant by special, I guess you could say, powers, as Naruto would explain what happened with the bully and him, as Tucci would laugh, telling Naruto that the situation he's in is quite unfortunate, but yes, if those are the powers you're talking about, then going to the library does help you attain them. But if he knows anything from his godly endeavors, of course this is just a joke, then what he means is jutsu. He would then explain what jutsu is to Naruto, as Naruto would be intrigued, deciding to seek it out. That is how Naruto would end up in a library the next week, exactly the next week from them. With that being said, Naruto would read many books. First off, he started off with history books, where he learned about times before the current events, you could say, like Madara Uchiha, people like Shisui Uchiha, Hashirama Senju, Tobirama Senju, and the list actually goes on. He actually even learned about his mother and father, which is quite interesting, you could say. With that being said, Naruto would continue to read, being able to learn different fighting styles. Things like the Drunken Fist were there for him to learn, and he had actually spent some time training with it. Eventually, he moved on to harder things to learn, like nature transformations. Once he learned this, he kind of knew what the bully had actually used on him, as he would decide that he wanted to learn it. So he would go up to the secretary, I guess you could say, or library worker, whatever you want to call them, who was working at the desk that was at the library, as it would actually be a she. Naruto would ask this woman if she knew how you could test a chakra nature. The woman would smirk. I was waiting for you to ask. I always see you reading that book on chakra natures, so I knew eventually you had to be intrigued. The woman's name was Shinto, as she would walk into the back of the library, a place Naruto had never seen. Around were books, weapons, and even some sort of artifacts that Naruto had never seen before. Naruto would then watch as she pulled out a small piece of paper, as Naruto would scratch the back of his head. What is this gonna do for me? Naruto would ask, as Shinto would smile. What is this gonna do for you? Well, grab it and tell me what happens. Now, the process of Naruto, doing the thing that allows you to see his chakra nature would happen and would unfold as we would realize that Naruto has not one, but in this timeline, 3 chakra natures. Now you may be asking, how is this possible? Well, easy. This is a different timeline, but also because his parents had one or both of these chakra natures. Now, the first one is wind style. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. This is Naruto who we're talking about. But the second would be fire style, and the third, lightning style. Now, the woman would laugh as she wondered who Naruto was. What lineage did he have? 3 chakra natures is quite rare, especially in such a small boy, who, well, at least to her, did not heir from any clan, at least on the outside. Unless you were to compare Naruto to, say, the Yamanakas, and even then, most of the Yamanakas have a different shade of blonde. We see Ino with the same shade of blonde as Naruto, but it's kind of different. And we see Ino's father, Jin, have a much different shade of blonde. Now, with that being said, I don't want to touch upon that too much, but Naruto would start to learn a lot. After this day, he would train, but he ran into a stump, or a roadblock, you could even say. His chakra control was off whack, doo-doo, trash, whatever you want to call it for the word, right? It was complete garbage. He could not control his chakra. No matter what he did, no matter what he tried, it was unreasonable. So he went to the person who he saw as most skilled. Not to Shinto, who he had only met a few days ago, but instead to Hiruzen Sarutobi, the 3rd Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, Konohagakure. So, as he went to him, he thought, would Hiruzen help him? Did he care for Naruto wanting to learn? And this really wasn't something Naruto would press on too much, as he would ask the question to the 3rd Hokage, who would gladly accept to teach Naruto some ways to learn chakra control. As if you didn't get the memo, Naruto was asking on some ways to learn chakra control, or to help him learn it, you could even say. With that being said, Hiruzen would help him, like I explained. Basically, Hiruzen would give Naruto 3 things to work on. The first were 2 wires. These 2 wires were connected to 2 trees, or 4, as you could just say, like 2 on each side. Basically, for example, 1 wire goes from one tree to another, and another wire goes from one tree to another. Now, Naruto's goal is to funnel chakra, literally just to funnel chakra, through these wires. The next thing was something that he had actually, I guess you could say, learned entirely on his own, but it was the ability to push chakra through chakra blades. This was something that Hiruzen had thought of just basically, or just based off of his son and how he uses his chakra blades, and he basically gave Naruto some chakra blades and told him to try and funnel his chakra onto them and around them, and maybe even create extensions of the chakra blades. And the next thing that he gave Naruto was a piece of paper. Now, not just one single piece of paper, but a few, in case they broke. But basically what Naruto had to do was try to push his chakra in different directions through the paper. And over time, if he got good at it, then he would learn chakra control. 1 year would pass, and at this point, Naruto has been able to master chakra control and learn one jutsu. This jutsu was actually rewarded to Naruto, as it was the multi-shadow clone jutsu, and he was able to get it down pretty quickly, as he literally had no problem with it, since in the original he didn't, and he shouldn't here either, as it's not the illusionary clone jutsu. With that being said, Naruto would also be decently powerful at this point. If I want to put him somewhere, I guess you could say on a scale, he'd be about low, very, very low Genin level, as at this point he's only about 5 years old. But at the same time, he's a I guess you could say even prodigy. He's been able to learn 3 chakra natures. No jutsu for any of them, but he's been able to learn all 3. And he's also got one very powerful jutsu, as we have seen Naruto spam the multi-shadow clone jutsu. With that being said, Naruto would now want to learn some jutsu, and he would learn a secret while training. Maybe you know the secret I'm talking about, the shadow clone secret. This would cause Naruto's training to be extremely sped up, as he would start to increase his strength rapidly. Naruto would do things with his clones since he found this new trick, as he would basically create 10 clones that would study in the library, continuously learning new tricks, new things, new jutsu, new things about the ninja history, new things about literally everything. But he would also have 20 clones training, and another 20 just running and doing short exercises, which would increase his strength, as Naruto knew that if he wanted to become Hokage, which at this point he does want to become, as his, I guess you could say, goal has already been established, at least to himself, then he would have to get stronger. He had figured this out when he talked Hiruzen, and Hiruzen beat him up pretty easily, just with one punch, and he realized that a Hokage has a lot of strength, so that's something that he needs to focus on heavily, and it might even be the most important one, at least to Naruto at this current point, as he has chakra control down flat, chakra natures down flat, but not really strength, nor that many jutsu. Now, with that being said, 2 more years would pass, and Naruto has been doing what he's been doing non-stop, but extra. What do I mean by that? Naruto eventually got used to the strain of, 10 to 20 clones at the library, 10 to 20 clones training, and, anywhere from 10 to 30 clones exercising. And eventually he was able to ramp that number up to where he actually had 50 clones doing each thing, while he basically just ate ramen all day. Why ramen? Because it actually helped him with training. Naruto actually knew of its benefits. I explained how Naruto was actually at the library doing things like reading books. He was able to learn nutritional facts. And what does ramen have in it? It has something known as carbohydrates. Okay, carbohydrates aren't the most healthy thing. Actually, I strongly suggest going against carbohydrates, as they're not that great for your health in high quantities. Now, Naruto is consuming a lot of ramen, but he's not doing things just, like sitting on the couch. He's training, and carbs are very good for training. So this would just be a great thing for him. But he'd also mix his ramen in with meat and eggs. He would also be able to earn a little bit more cash, I guess you could say, from Hiruzen, as through the library, he had been able to learn that there are other ways to make money than just sitting around for an old man to give it to you. And that is by actually doing things for the money. Now, I'm not saying Naruto just, sits around and waits for Hiruzen to give him money, but you guys get my point. At least I hope so. With that being said, Naruto would have a great time. He was so happy that he was progressing so quickly until he hit a stump. He no longer felt as if he could improve his skill, but rather, he thought he was powerful. Very strong, in fact. Strong enough that he thought that he could challenge a Jonin. Which Jonin, you may ask? Jonin of the Leaf Village, Guy Sensei. Naruto had heard many things of Guy Sensei, and had even read a little bit about him, being kind of like an idol to Naruto, and even a legend in some cases, and in some ways that Naruto viewed him. His strength was unparalleled, and his speed unmatched, only by equally a strong legend, Kakashi Hatake. With that being said, Naruto thought that he was ready to challenge Guy, as he would smirk, challenging Guy to a duel right in front of both Kurenai and Asuma. Asuma would smirk. What is this boy up to? Kurenai thought, as Asuma would also smirk, thinking something else. What does this boy have up his sleeve? As he did know that his father, Hiruzen, was actually talking about how Naruto had adopted his chakra blades into, well, his fighting style, at least a little bit. As Naruto would rush towards Guy, as Guy had gladly accepted. Why would he not accept a fight, especially if he knew he could win, with his opponent being the shrimpy-looking kid, Naruto? Naruto would then fight Guy as they would have a massive duel. Naruto would rush around Guy, clashing chakra blade to fist. Naruto was surprised at how powerful Guy's fist was, as Guy would toy around with Naruto, as they would basically be even, but of course this is a guy who's very low diffing Naruto, like he's not even trying at all. But Naruto's pouring basically everything into this fight. With that being said, Naruto would then watch as Guy would kick him away. Guy would then smirk, telling Naruto that he should try to reach this level of strength, yelling out, "First gate, open." The first gate of opening would open for him as he called for it. He would then rush towards Naruto, kicking him up into the air 2 times. Naruto felt the worst pain in his jaw he had ever felt in his life. As he would then watch as Guy spin in the air, Naruto couldn't react. He couldn't move, he couldn't dodge, his body stunned from the pain that was inflicted upon his jaw. Guy would then yell out, "Because I am the green beast of the leaf, Guy Sensei!" Guy would then slam Naruto down into the ground as Naruto would look above him. He was now back to the ground. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that if you're laying down in bed, that was basically how Naruto was. He was laying on his back. Naruto would then look above him. His eyes blinked slowly. He felt his body going numb as if he were about to pass out, as Guy would smirk. "Are you okay, Naruto?" Guy would ask, as Naruto would hold on to his consciousness. He couldn't lose, just not yet. He had to stay in there just a little longer. If he lost already, then he wouldn't be able to call himself strong. He wouldn't be able to say that he made true progress quickly. Because what it looked like to him was that he was losing. That he was weak, not strong enough to tangle with a true beast in the forest. For a analogy, so to speak, Naruto had now seen himself as a monkey, whereas Guy would be a tiger. Naruto would then ask Guy how he got so strong, as Guy would be utterly surprised that Naruto was still awake. He had surely thought that Naruto had passed out from the pain. Asuma would then watch as Naruto pulled both of his chakra blades close to him and close to his mouth. Naruto would then start to move the chakra blades slowly, as Asuma wondered what Naruto was doing. Naruto would then slowly blow air onto his chakra blades, as the air would swirl around them, creating a sort of wind tunnel around his blades. Naruto would then slowly stand up on his feet as the Guy's gate aura would disappear, even though there was none of it to begin with. I guess you could say the presence of the gates would disappear. As Guy would look at Naruto with a smile on his face. He was proud that Naruto was so strong-willed, and knew that Naruto would be the backbone of the next generation someday, as he would ask Naruto, or I guess you could say even tell Naruto, that he can get a hit on him. Just one hit. Naruto would fall on his knees. He felt so weak, but he knew that he had to take this opportunity. Naruto would then pour all of his power into this technique, as his chakra blades would grow in size. Asuma was surprised at how big they were. They were even bigger than anything he had ever made at the current time. He would then rush towards Guy as Guy would start to get a little bit afraid, but wouldn't break his promise. Naruto would slam his chakra blades into Guy as Guy's eyes would roll into the back of his head. This would cause Guy to go flying into a tree, spinning in the air and slamming into it. This would then cause Guy to pass out, leaving Naruto to a win, so to speak. Naruto's chakra blades would then fall off of his hands. He felt weak and could no longer fight. He would then grit his teeth, falling on his knees as he would punch the ground below him. No, I didn't win, he would start to cry. Kurenai and Asuma would ask what was wrong as Naruto would yell out, "Did you not just see our fight? I didn't win. I didn't even get close to it." Well, for a kid who's not even 8 years old, you did pretty well. No. I did subpar at best. If I want to be Hokage, I can't slack around like this. Naruto thought of why. Why did he take the opportunity to hit Guy, even though Guy gave him the opportunity? Why was he so sad? But he found the answer. Because if it wasn't a real fight, Guy would have easily won. Guy, right there and then, had the ability to destroy him, to beat him, even to kill him. And from that day on, he realized he never wanted a single person to have that ability, to be able to decide his fate. And with that being said, this has been Rami X. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe button, as it would be greatly appreciated. Please tell me how you guys' Thanksgiving was. Mine was pretty great. But with that being said, Rami X. Oh.